Well, this first week of March has been a tough week as far as wind, just lots of wind, damaging wind, high wind. I know a lot of the central United States had the same wind that we did. And that can be discouraging. If you have a market garden or a farm, I know that people that have big monocrop farms that are 500 to 1,000 acres, things like that can be very discouraging. Um, I will say that sometimes it's just part of it. We go through it, but still, it's a difficult thing when you have to deal with a crop that's maybe completely lost or something that the seeds just completely get blown away. And it does happen. But the reason I make this video this morning is when you have those discouraging times, it's always a blessing to be able to help people around you and a blessing from those who can help you. And the reason I tell you this story this morning is we have a lot of little farms around us. There's a ranch fairly large just west of us, but there's a lot of little bitty farms or ranchettes, people who've bought small acreage out in this area. And some are just getaway places, others where people actually live and have a little bit of farming, or they'll have a few animals that they raise. But of course, here at Whirlwind Family Farm, we are a market garden, on this land. And I'm blessed to have one of the nicest neighbors who lives just southeast of me. He bought the land about 2 years ago. And that guy would literally give you the shirt off his back. He would lend you any tool he has, um, give you any sort of help. He is multi-skilled. The guy's an electrician, he's a plumber, he does masonry work. He just can do just about anything. And the reason I bring him up is that not once, I'm just the kind of person, and this is not a great trait, is that it's hard for me to ask for help. But this is the kind of neighbor that will come over at a moment's notice, give you anything he has, help you and do it, and not ask for anything in return. And that is a rare person that is that kind and will do those sort of things. So the reason I make this video this morning is to tell you, be that kind of neighbor to somebody around you. Like I said, it's tough sometimes. I know I lived in a more metropolitan area for a long time, and sometimes I didn't even know the people that lived around me. I had no idea who they were, what they did for a living or anything, and that's kind of sad. And the point of this video is that you may have a skill or a thing that you're able to do that is a great blessing to somebody. And in my business, which is Whirlwind Family Farm, over the past 4 to 5 years, I've learned so much about gardening. And you may already have those set of skills yourself. You may really be a master gardener and have been gardening for years. And the whole point of Whirlwind Family Farm, our channel, is to take people further along in that gardening experience so they too could start a small garden, be able to have organic vegetables, be able to have vegetables for themselves and for their family each year. And again, it doesn't have to be big or difficult, but that's where you come in. If you do see a neighbor and maybe they do need a little help with your experience, that's a great opportunity to be able to go over and show them, hey, this is how I lay out my beds. This is how I put down compost. This is how I make my compost. And these are the seeds, and this is the time of year when I plant them. Just a little bit of help like that goes such a long ways and really can be a great blessing to that person who's trying their very first garden. I wish I would have had that. I went through a lot of uh, self-education, going through books, many people on YouTube that I followed that are experts that really took me further along in this process. So I don't want this to be a long video that is boring to you. I just want to say, when you see that opportunity to be able to help out a neighbor, again, you don't have to go across town. It could be somebody right in the neighborhood right behind you, or your very next door neighbor that could use a little help. And maybe it's not gardening. Maybe they just need help with something around the house that you have a skill in that they simply don't have. So that's one of the great things about gardening, is sometimes you can have that common bond, that common interest, and there's a lot of different things you can share. And here in this channel, we don't claim to have all the answers or know everything about agriculture. There's so many things to know. And there's so many people that I follow online that really are just absolute experts. And it takes me further along in my gardening process. And we hope that's what we can do for you, is to take you further along in the basics so it can be a skill for you in something that's simple. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it each week. We always try to have a couple of interesting videos that you can check out next here at Whirlwind Family Farm as we go through this spring. Stick with us, because we're going to have a lot of tips as we get to, once our plants get germinated in our seed trays and we start to plant out into our rows. We want you to follow along and see exactly how we take them from seedlings all the way to harvest. Blessings over you, your family, your garden. Talk to you soon from Whirlwind Family Farm.